Hello, guys. So, welcome to the very interesting video, which was the question of PySpark was asked in Walmart interview. Okay, so this is very important, and this is little bit tricky, but I will take you to the very simple steps and let's make it very easy as usual. Okay, so we have a call history table called phonelog. So here we have one table as a input data, as an input table. What we need to do, we need to write a PySpark code to find out callers. Okay, let's see what are the column names. There is a caller ID, recipient ID, and date called. Okay, now here is the person who has called, the person who has received, and on which date this call was done. Okay, now to write a PySpark code to find out callers whose first and last call was to the same person on a given day. Now let's try to say this question in our own words. What actually this needs, the result needs. So we came to know that we want each date called, and for each caller ID we want first recipient ID and last recipient ID. Basically, whenever each comes, one thing that should click in your mind is like a group by or partition by is going to be used in this question. Okay, now let's understand for each date called. Okay, 1/1/2019, 2001/2009. This is the three rows are there for the same date called, and the caller ID is also same. Okay, so for each date called and each caller ID, what we need first and last call. We need to find the first and last call was to the same person or not, basically that. So the first call for this is like 2, the last call is 4, so this shouldn't be into the inner output. Now let's see second date 7/5/2020 2019, 7/5/2019. Caller ID is 2, the first date is the first recipient is 5, the last is also 5, so this should be in our output. As you can see, the first row is in our output. Now let's go to 8/1/2019, 8/1/2019. The caller ID for all of them is 2, the first recipient ID is 3, the last recipient ID is 5, so this doesn't qualify our criteria. Now let's go to the next date, 8/9/2019, 8/2019, 8/2019, and for the same caller ID. Okay, here the first recipient is 4, the last recipient is 4. This qualifies our condition, and this is in our output. So now one thing we are going to use partition by and or group by. Okay, so now we will try to figure out on what we will use partition by. In this question, if we only use partition by on the date called, that will work, but maybe we are considering where there are multiple caller IDs for the same date. This is not in this example, but let's consider that too. Okay, so there will be no change. The partition by we are doing on date called, it will also be partition by caller ID. That's it, as simple as that. So what we will do, we will try to create one column for the first recipient ID on this partition. Okay, like then there will be one row. Just imagine not row, imagine a column which says the first recipient ID 222 over here, and the other column will be there for the same partition. We will need a last recipient ID. So in the second column, each row will be filled with 4. Okay, I will show you. This is the step 1, guys. If this the small trick or the small thing that we need to do partition by or group by, this clicks. If this clicks your mind, then the question is solved over here. Let's see how. Okay, so as we have discussed, I have created a 2 column with partitioning on recipient ID and caller date called, partitioning on date called and caller ID. The first recipient ID is 222, the last recipient ID is 444. Now how I have generated this 2 column, I will show you on the Databricks while writing the code. Okay, while writing the PySpark code for each and every partition, we have the same thing. You can see first recipient ID is 5, so 5555. The last recipient ID is also 5555. Similarly for this one and this one. Okay, and this one. Okay, now the step 2 would be, do we need the second recipient ID? We are good with we have first recipient ID, we have last recipient ID. Now there is no need of this extra information, the middle recipient IDs. So we will just remove this column. The step 2 will be removing this column via here. Now one thing you will observe is these rows are repeating. These rows are repeating. Now what we will do, we will apply a distinct function on this data frame to remove the duplicates. That will be our step 3. Very simple, guys. Now here you go. After visualizing this data frame, you know what to do. You know what to do. This is the 4 rows, and you just need to filter where first recipient ID is equals to last recipient ID. That's it, guys. We are doing the filtering over here, and here is our output. What was the output? 2. We should have only recipient ID column. Here we have we can remove this one column. Okay, so let's go to our Databricks. So here we are on a Databricks notebook, and for the first cell we are just trying to import few of the things which we are going to need, and for the second, on the second cell we are trying to generate our input table. Okay, that's it. I will give you this the generation part, and you can try on your own first, and then you can come over here, and here we go, guys. So let's what is our step 1? Our step 1 is to create a partition on this or caller date called and caller ID, and generate this 2 column. Okay, so let's create our window for this thing. Window is equals to window dot, remember guys, we are doing partition by, so here we are doing partition by on 2 things. Okay, let's just copy paste caller ID, and the second will be date called. Okay, and we are also going to do order by. Okay, order by, in the input the order is same, but still we need to make sure that order remains the same. Date called, order and date called. Okay, yes, we are done with creating our window. Now we will generate this 2 columns using with column. Okay, with column function. Okay, let me use this data frame, the input data frame. Okay, we will copy this input data frame dot with column, because we want to generate a new column. What will be the name of the new column? Let's give it first. Okay, let's copy from here only, y to right, first recipient ID. Now what will be the definition of this column? Okay, it will be very simple, guys. We need first value, the first value we need, correct? This is the partition, and we need the first recipient ID, so we will use the first function. First of what we need? Okay, what's first of recipient ID, correct? Let's go over here, let's copy this recipient ID. Now we will need to write over fun clause, and inside over we will give a like window. Okay, now if I show you, let's just do display, it will generate a new column and that data frame. See, this was our partition and we have recipient 22222. Okay, now similarly we will generate the other column with the last recipient ID. It will be same, guys, same thing we are going to do for this. See how easy it is to code. We just need to use last function and we can do by different ways, but we already have the function, so why to worry. We'll use the same recipient ID over here and dot over same window. Okay, now what I will do, I will put it into a data frame. Let's call it R. Oh, I'm not giving a good name, but it's fine for now. Display. Okay, let's see. This is the partition, this was the partition, and the first partition 2222, the first recipient, and the last recipient is 44444. Okay, now what was the second step? The second step was to remove this recipient ID. Now we can do this by two ways, either drop that column or we can do select and we can write remaining names. We will do r.select and we will try to copy all of them over here, comma, we need recipient ID. No, we are removing that, correct? So we don't need recipient ID. We need callers, Datecalled, add it over here, comma, we need first recipient ID, we need last recipient ID. Okay, now let's store it inside some data frame. I will call it answer. This is not the final answer, but still I am giving the name answer. I don't know why, just no worries. Okay, now what was our step 3? Here you can see the duplicates, right? These are duplicate rows, these are duplicate rows, these are again duplicate rows, these are again duplicate rows. So the third step would be applying distinct function on this data frame. So let's copy the name of the data frame. It's very simple, just apply distinct and we will store inside a variable. Let's give the name final. This is also not a final answer, but still I am giving this data frame final the display. Okay, let's see. Yes, now what you can see, we just need to filter out where first recipient ID is equals to last recipient ID. That's it, that will be our final answer, guys. Now let's copy the name of this data frame. Okay, and let's apply the filter function dot filter. Okay, inside filter column, this column first recipient should be equal to last recipient ID. Okay, so we will use call function and we will copy this column name, first recipient ID should be equal to column last recipient ID. Okay, yes, so let's let's store it into some another variable, filtered underscore final is equals to this, and we'll copy this dot display. Okay, yes, now we have our output. No, we don't have our output. Like, let's just, we need to just do a little bit tweaking over here. What we need to do, dot select, we will need caller ID, comma, date called, comma, and we need, this both are same, correct? So this was our condition, la first recipient date should be equals to last recipient date. So this dot alias, what we need is just recipient ID. Okay, we will put it into the output variable, and we are going to just display it. Oh, output dot display. Now object areas. Okay. Okay, no worries, we can move that. There might be some issue with this. We can always change the name. Remove this. Yes, so we have same output. Where is it? Caller ID, date called, recipient ID, caller ID, date called. Oh, we can always change the name. That was not working. We can put the call function and apply the alias. Okay. So yeah, guys, 2254. Here we are at the end of our discussion. So please like and share this video, write your comments. If you understood, write understood. If you do not understood, write do not. Whatever query you have, please comment. I will try to reply as soon as possible. And yeah, that's it, guys. Keep learning, keep exploring.